It happened on a hot July afternoon in the quiet town of Ridgeford, Pennsylvania, a place where people thought racism was something that lived in old history books, not in the middle of Main Street. But what went down that day proved otherwise, and before I even tell you how it all exploded, let me be clear, you need to watch until the very end because what the boss of these cops did will shock you to your core. It's the kind of justice people talk about for decades, and it will leave you clapping at your screen. And if you believe bad cops should be exposed, hit that like button right now, share this video so the world sees it, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss stories like this, because here's where it all began. Officer Trent Mallory and Officer Rick Bowers were known in Ridgeford for all the wrong reasons. They had a reputation, and not the kind you'd want if you wore the badge. They were the kind of cops who smiled in front of the mayor, but rolled their eyes when they saw certain people walking down the street. And everyone in the minority community knew, if you got stopped by Trent or Rick, you were in for trouble. But no one expected what they'd do to a woman named Laverne Hayes that day. A woman who had lived in Ridgeford her entire life, paid her taxes, raised her kids right, and was loved in her neighborhood. Yet to these two cops, she was just another face they could target. And it all started when Laverne walked out of Parker's grocery store holding a bag of apples and a loaf of bread. Nothing unusual except the fact that Trent and Rick were sitting in their cruiser right across the street, eyes locked on her like they just found prey. Now here's the thing about Ridgeford. Main Street has one of those old-style parking lanes where cars line both sides and the sidewalks are narrow, meaning anyone getting stopped is on full display. So when Trent suddenly swung the cruiser up onto the curb, lights flashing, people started paying attention. Right away, Laverne froze, confused, the bread nearly slipping from her hands as Trent got out, swagger in every step. "Ma'am, we need to speak to you about a theft reported from this store," he said loud enough for half the street to hear. Laverne's eyes widened. "Theft? I just bought these," she said, holding up her receipt, but Rick was already circling her like a shark, muttering something under his breath about, "You people." Words Laverne heard clearly, and so did a young man across the street filming on his phone. Now let's pause here, because this is where you start to feel your blood boil, right? But keep watching, because what's about to happen will push you over the edge. Trent grabbed the receipt, glanced at it, and instead of admitting they were wrong, he smirked. "Could be a fake," he said, and before she could respond, Rick yanked the bag from her hands.